Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse is an absolute masterpiece of a film. Who would have thought? Spider-Verse 1 is one of my favorite films of all time. I love the film. It is, in my opinion, it's a masterpiece and probably the best Spider-Man film. This movie is no different. I absolutely love this film. It is honestly just perfect. The pacing, the story, the characters, the animation, everything about it. They play all their cards right, and it is such a perfect movie. The problem is that everyone else has said the same thing, and there's nothing about this movie that I can say that no one else has said yet. The only thing about this movie that more of a nitpick really, that I didn't like, was that, and one of the biggest appeals of Spider-Verse is all of these animation styles clashing, right? In this movie, towards the beginning, towards like the first act of this movie, there were some scenes where I got kind of disoriented because of how much they threw at us. They were throwing so many animation styles at us and so much stuff at us that I actually got a little disoriented because I just didn't even know what I was looking at because they were throwing so much at us. That's really my only complaint with this movie, or more like just a nitpick. And that's really it when it comes to the stuff I didn't like or nitpicks. The rest of this movie is amazing. There were some audio issues, like I couldn't hear the characters, but I heard that was like a theater issue. I heard that they had already fixed that. Aside from that, so aside from those two things, I love this movie a lot. This movie is just, oh my gosh, again, this isn't going to be a long review because there's nothing about this movie that I can say that no one else has already said, which is unfortunate. I love how the first, 20 minutes of this movie is just dedicated to Gwen, Spider-Gwen, and her story. I'm really surprised. It actually takes us a while to get into the Spider-Verse, but I was never complaining. When are we going to get into the Spider-Verse? When are we going to get in the Spider-Verse? I was always wondering when we were going to get there, but I never complained because I didn't mind seeing more of Gwen. I didn't mind seeing more of Miles. Just seeing them living and a lot of the struggles that they go through, I did not mind seeing any of that. I wanted to see just a movie based on that, and I didn't mind that the first half of this movie just takes place in the normal world, it takes a while to get to the Spider-Verse. And this movie also, I really love Miguel as a villain, and more like just an antagonist, not really a villain, but Miguel, I understand Miguel's reasoning for why he wants to stop Miles, and I also understand Miles' point of view. I like how you can definitely see both sides. You see Miguel as sort of an adult who understands what must be done, and then you also see Miles as somebody who really just wants to do what he believes is right. And I love both perspectives, and I understand both perspectives, and I love that. I also love seeing a lot of these characters again, I really loved these characters in the first one, and seeing Peter B. Parker show up and Gwen come back. It was really cool to see these characters on screen again. And I can't wait to see Spider-Noir, Penny Parker, and Peter Porker in Spider-Verse 3. Not to mention, the new spiders in this movie are amazing. Like Spider-Punk, I don't know if it's Spider-Punk or Spider-Rock, Spider-India. There's a lot of these new spider people that they introduce, and all of them are really fun to watch. You didn't really know what was going to come up too, because then there's a cat Spider-Man, there's a Western cowboy Spider-Man, and a car Spider-Man. You really didn't know what they were going to throw at you. At some point, and this came as a total shock to me, there was a Lego Spider-Man that showed up. And I love that. They do so much stuff at you. They really surprise you. And I think this movie, I think this was probably, aside from maybe John Wick, I think John Wick 4 was the last movie that I saw where I really felt like chills when I watched a movie. There is a lot of stuff that happens in the final act of this movie. There's a lot of twists, turns, a lot of stuff like that. A lot of just mind-blowing stuff that happens near the end of the movie, towards the final act. Oh my gosh, is that stuff golden. It is so goated, so golden, I swear. It is so good. There was a lot of scenes where I was reacting and the whole audience was reacting with me. Everybody was like, oh, or you know what I mean? That kind of audience. That's the way that the movie affected the audience. It was freaking amazing. The ending of this movie, I absolutely loved it. A lot of people, I remember there was a group behind me when I was watching this movie. There was a group behind me that was disappointed that the movie ended on a cliffhanger. And I even got some comments on other videos saying, hey, like, I didn't like that it was a cash grab, that we need a third movie, that it was unneeded. I feel like we should just let the creators of Spider-Verse take their sweet time, and because that's what they did. This movie really takes its time with everything, but because it takes its time, it's really setting up a lot of things, and it's setting up, in my opinion, what could be the best animated trilogy ever made. If you think about it, like, again, a lot of people were salty about this, but I was 100% fine because this movie was originally named Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. You know what I mean? So we already knew a Part 3 was going to come out. This movie could become the Lord of the Rings or Star Wars of animation. Think about that for a second. Try to name some, like, amazing animated trilogies. If you tried to name, like, the Kung Fu Panda trilogy, I love the Kung Fu Panda trilogy. I think that's, like, one of the better animation trilogies. If you compare something like the Kung Fu Panda trilogy or other animated trilogies out there, they aren't really connected in, like, one big story, a big epic, you know? Lord of the Rings and Star Wars are in that kind of form, in an epic. And usually because animation is so expensive, animation studios don't get to make big epics with their films. Here, I feel like they are setting up a Lord of the Rings of animation, a connected masterpiece trilogy trinity of films, if that makes sense. The first one, perfect. This one, just as perfect. I feel like they are setting up something amazing. And a lot of people are salty so far. Like, so there were some people that were salty about it. They were like, no, like, we don't need a part 3. Why did they have to, like, do a part 3? I feel like they're taking their sweet time, and I am totally fine with it. Take your time. Take your time making a masterpiece of a film, and I honestly feel like if they keep making such incredible films like this, and if the next one is just as good as these other two, we could have a trilogy, like an animated trilogy, that's just as good as Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and it's connected, you know what I mean? The Kung Fu Panda trilogy, I love the Kung Fu Panda trilogy. It's actually really underrated. That one is great, but it's not connected. This one, on the other hand, is connected. And I feel like, again, this could be the Lord of the Rings of animation or the Star Wars of animation, you know? I love this film so much, and I'm not sure if it's better than the first, but I absolutely love this film. And again, there is nothing about it that I can say that nobody else has, unfortunately. Just absolute 10 out of 10 film. Highly recommend. Guys, if you have not seen Spider-Verse 1, go check out Spider-Verse 1. If you loved Spider-Verse 1, you're going to absolutely love this film. It's just, oh my gosh, I cannot recommend this film enough. It gives me chills when watching, and I want to go watch this again whenever possible. This movie is one of the few that gave me chills. Just chills, man, honestly. I, again, highly recommend checking this one out whenever you can. If you get the chance, go check it out. If you haven't seen part 1, go check out part 1. I would highly recommend checking this one out, guys. I can't stress that enough. But what do y'all think of Spider-Verse 2? I absolutely love it. I've said this so many times in this video. I absolutely love it. Go check it out if you haven't already. It's just an incredible, perfect film. Best movie of the year, and probably the best movie of the decade. I don't think anything's really gonna top this film, to be honest. I don't think that many films are gonna top this movie. I think that aside from Spider-Verse 3, I really don't know what could come out that could, like, top this masterpiece of a film, you know? So far, best movie of the decade, and the only thing that I think could beat it is part 3. But what do you think of Spider-Verse 2? Did you enjoy it? I bet you did. Did you see it? Have you enjoyed it? Do you want to go watch it? I mean, this is just, honestly, it's an experience. That's one of the best ways to describe this movie. It is an experience. Definitely go check it out whenever you get the chance. But I'd love to know what you guys think of it in the comments, because there's a lot of different viewpoints on this movie. A lot of people are saying different things. So I'd love to know what you guys think of this movie. I absolutely love it. But thank you all so much for watching. God bless you guys. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe. God bless you guys, and I'll see you all next time.